we're worried about skies, so we no. How are you?
Good, good. All I saw was this beautiful bunch of flowers, which is
Oh,
totally fine as well.
my little profile picture.
Yeah, but it's lovely to see you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure, pleasure. How's your Friday morning going?
Good. We're busy working away. I was thinking afterwards, or maybe during, I can take you on a little tour. I'm actually in the studio. We started at 7 a.m. this morning,
Wow.
and we're just preparing for Mother's Day.
Of course. Well, thank you for giving us some of your time graciously amidst this busy period for you. We really appreciate it. So, we've had the pleasure of working with you, of course, since the inception of Mrs. Fray, and your blooms and foliage quite often grace our space here on the regular, which is beautiful. So, ahead of the very special flower-filled day this Sunday for Mother's Day, and also the exciting launch of the Wiluna online store, we're really thankful that you've given up some time today, Larissa, and to join us for a Q&A. There's no surprises really that we've been flooded with questions for you. And as self-confessed flower fiends, we've thrown a few of our own into the mix. So are you ready? Shall we get started?
Sure.
Okay. So first and foremost, how are you and the Wiluna team doing at the moment?
We're doing well. Obviously, a few weeks back when COVID sort of hit us, it was quite a shock. It was really hard, especially that first week, seeing what was happening to the rest of the world, and then sort of going through the motions as well, because I guess it's such a personal business for me. I've never seen this as, oh, a get rich quick scheme. This is so much a part of me and my identity, and I don't have children, and this is like my baby. So it was really tough that first week. We also had to juggle a lot of emotional clients and brides, rescheduling their weddings. But I think now coming through the other end, we're all really good and positive and super busy. So if anything, it's been good.
Yeah, I think you're right. In the very beginning for everyone, it was just shock and, how do we react to this? But I think, particularly for your business, there have been some amazing things that you've been working on in that behind the scenes that are all coming to life now, which is very exciting. And we're looking forward to hearing more. I guess if we rewind to the very beginning, Larissa, how did your journey with Florals start?
So I never really knew what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was never particularly very academic or good at anything much at school except for art, and I loved drama. And I knew those two things were not huge money makers or something that I just sort of, I was never super clear on what I wanted to end up doing. And at school, we were able to do work experience. We had to pick somewhere, anywhere in Canberra, and spend a week there. And at the time, I was living out in Womboyne, and Queanbeyan was quite close. And one of the ladies suggested trying the florist there. So I did work experience there for a week, and I just fell into it. I was about 15 at the time, and sort of all through school, and then it became my full-time job, and it just sort of happened quite naturally, which is nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to fall into that passion and kind of see it through, particularly from such a young age. I think when we're all kind of 15 years old, we have no idea whatsoever.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're so glad that you didn't get into acting. We're so happy that you chose the floral path.
Well, I don't know. Over the last couple of weeks, I think I was going a bit bored and nutty at home and getting a bit more into my, because I have a personal Instagram separately where I can just be a little bit more crazy and silly. And I just thought maybe I should have been an actress, but no, I'm really happy with the way things have gone, and it's just sort of grown organically, and I'm still forever changing. Like, obviously never intended to open a shop, but it's what people need and want right now. And obviously no weddings and events are going ahead, so it's just perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah. Things definitely happen for a reason, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, speaking of your work, Larissa, what do you think inspires you the most when you're styling or putting florals together or working with a client?
I think it's a combination of things. It often depends on the job. For example, with weddings, we definitely have a certain style and aesthetic, and I think people that come to us because they like that, but then they also will generally give us certain pictures or a bit of a mood board or colouring, so that will inspire us to then come up with the final concept for their wedding. Things like jobs, I don't know, like if there's something to do with food and it's summer, I love working with the seasons. If it's a big corporate client, we like to suggest maybe working in their brand colours. And we also get super inspired by other florists all around the world. So I often am looking at Instagram and sort of seeing what other people are doing, and I love experimenting. So it's a combination of things, I think.
Yeah, great. And speaking of a wedding day, what do you think is your favourite part of a wedding day?
I think it's really, really special being part of someone's day, being able to create something and that quite often transforms and elevates the space or the mood or the feel. Because we worked in a number of venues in Canberra, even, for example, but every wedding is unique and different, and depending on the colour of the flowers or the style, it completely changes the whole look. So yeah, I don't know. What was the question again? Now I've got up on it. What did you say?
That's okay. It was the perfect answer. It was, what is your favorite part of a wedding day?
Oh, definitely as well. When and if the bride cries is actually every florist's dream.
Oh,
But
really?
it's a good cry when you deliver the bouquet, and if you're their person and the reaction, you know, if they genuinely truly love it, they'll burst into tears, and that's like every florist's dream. So that's,
I can imagine. Yeah, what a beautiful moment for you. Yeah. I can vouch for that, Larissa. I cried when I got my wedding bouquet.
Oh, good. You must have had a wonderful florist.
Oh, she's amazing. And it was wonderful. And it just, I don't know, in a way it encapsulated the day and the scenery and the location and the people, and yeah, it was everything. So I definitely understand the power of florals.
That's nice.
Yeah. Speaking of flowers, is there one kind of hero flower that is kind of always in season for weddings? I know obviously flowers come and go with the seasons, and they might, they bloom at different times. Is there one kind of hero flower that is guaranteed to always be available for weddings?
Yes. So at the moment, because there are so many flowers that are always seasonal, like spring bulbs, dahlias, peonies, and things like that. But a lot of flowers we can mostly get all year round now, because there's just such a high demand. And roses often feature in a lot of our work, especially weddings. So as much as I love lots of different things, and sometimes it depends on the week, I'd say that roses are always a key feature. They're very romantic and versatile, and available all year round. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And we've seen some beautiful creations that you've done with roses, particularly the collaboration we did with you here at Mrs. Fray and Corinna and Dylan. Those beautiful creamy and caramel tone roses were incredible. Such beautiful colours. Yeah.
I love the muted, soft colours when there's a little hint of blush or toffee. I think that's really popular too at the moment.
Okay. Speaking of trends, is there anything that you've seen emerging lately for wedding flowers?
Um, yeah, I think there's a big movement at the moment where people are wanting a modern but classic look. So, for example, years ago, I think even our style has developed a little bit more towards that edge. Originally, we used to do a lot of mixed wildflower looks, very foliage heavy, and now what I'm finding a lot of brides are asking for, and what we actually are really enjoying doing, is a bit more grouped or minimalist, less foliage, more floral dense, and sort of clusters, and just sort of focus on a few elements rather than it being a little bit more busy. Um, and I think natives are coming back a lot more. I think they were out of trend for a long time, and now there's a big love for Australian natives, and drieds. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And I guess, after the day as well, which is something I was going to ask you, can you preserve your flowers? I guess, dried and natives, they do kind of dry out quite
Yes.
well, and you can kind of preserve them. Could you do the same with roses, Larissa?
I think there are places, I'm not sure whereabouts in Canberra, but perhaps somebody could write on my post if they offer that service that you've posted today. There are places that can preserve your wedding bouquet. What I also suggested to people as well is, if you get tiny little florets, or if there's any dried elements, you can get just a gorgeous simple frame glass and press them and just sort of have them in a frame, which looks really beautiful. But I know a friend of mine, but she's in Sydney. She did get her wedding bouquet preserved. But it's something, I don't know a lot about it, but natives and things you could just dry yourself, and they would hold
Yeah,
their shape. But roses would eventually sort of shrivel up and crumble.
sure.
And
They're quite delicate. Yeah. I love the idea of pressing some of the kind of smaller elements, and framing them, and
yeah,
kind of having them as a beautiful memento or artwork in your home
yes,
alongside your wedding photos, really kind of
yeah,
tells the story.
nice simple keepsake. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of the bride's bouquet, Larissa, do you have a favorite kind of style or design that you really love to do? I guess with what you just said previously about weddings being very different and unique to the person, keeping that in mind as well. But is there something that kind of stands out that you've created maybe in the past, or that you kind of love putting together?
I think with the wedding bouquet, it's like it represents the bride in flower form. So I just love chatting to them, discussing with them, sharing ideas, and then making that bouquet, and it being like a representation of them and to complement their style. And I think in terms of what kinds of bouquets I'm loving making, I think, yeah, back to that, quite a little bit more modern, like we're experimenting, I think, with a bit more color. And it's mainly just because people are asking. So obviously the muted, always love a pastel muted toned wedding, but the last few weddings that we did, actually both in March, had very vibrant pops of colour, and that was just really fun as well. I love experimenting. I think I'm really enjoying getting different briefs and trying new things as well. I like a challenge.
Yeah, and it's really exciting to hear that brides are quite being adventurous with their florals as well, and adding color in.
Yeah.
Speaking of
So
flowers,
more of those, please.
yeah, sure, sure. We'll see what we can do to help.
Yeah.
Speaking of flowers in general, do you have an all-time favorite flower yourself?
It's so hard. It's like asking what's your favorite child. I
Favorite
just
chart?
think it's it definitely, I think it changes. I really love and enjoy things that have a short season. I think it makes them even more special, because they're quite precious and they're only around for, whether it's a couple weeks or a few months. I mean, yeah, always love a rose, love a peony. Dahlias are amazing. They're just coming out of their autumn season at the moment. I think because their heads are just so big and frilly, and I just love all the colors. They're amazing. I just don't have a favorite flower, but there's different, like depending on the season. There's another flower called chocolate cosmos, and it's a tiny little blacky brown flower, and it actually smells like chocolate, and that's really special. It's quite tricky to use because it's small. It's like a tiny little daisy, so it doesn't have a big showy head, but I just love those. But yeah, it definitely depends. I think depends on
depends on the season. Yeah, the week, the day. I mean, you're surrounded by them all the time. Like you said, it would be like choosing your favorite child.
Yeah, I'll have to show you what we've got here, maybe after. But
yeah, absolutely. And this is quite a specific styling question from one of our brides, Larissa. So what would you recommend floral styling wise for a relaxed yet sophisticated summery vibe wedding?
I think especially with Australian summers, you also have to keep in mind longevity. If they're having something simple, then you only have to worry about the bouquet, but usually it's just very, very hot during the day. So you have to probably keep in mind choosing things that are long lasting so they don't look half dead, especially if you're having an outdoor ceremony, or even if you're having your reception indoors. The rooms are quite often, then they're warm, there's a lot of people. So having a few things, maybe you'll have some softer, bloomy elements, but having some durable like flowers that can stand the heat in summer. But sophisticated, I think you can't go wrong with whites and greens, and you can still have something look really classic and beautiful and simple. Like I wouldn't go busy. You don't want to have too many different types of flowers. Like you could just have, I'd go maybe 3 or 2 flower types max with maybe a complementing beautiful foliage or something. But whoever that might have been, if they want to get in touch, I can chat with them further. Yeah, does that help answer the question? Might depend. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's really great advice on thinking about the type of flower, and if it is warm, you know, will they actually last? I guess you're not wanting to go for like a really delicate, super soft rose.
Yes.
Something that's a little bit more forgiving in that warmer weather. But that's great advice, and we'll definitely let our bride know. She already has your details, so she can reach out and have a chat to you further. That's awesome. I guess another one that you might be able to answer over email, Larissa, we had a question around pricing when it comes to some of your bigger floral installs. I guess you probably have to quote on this separately because it depends on like size and flowers and location and all of that. Are there any approximate prices you could give us, or should we direct that one to you on email?
Sure, here to go, and I can help explain, because we do get asked that a lot, and it often is. This is the perfect opportunity for me to explain how pricing works. So yeah, shoot.
Okay, so this one is for a floral install, a big floor piece.
Floor piece. I guess I'm not entirely sure what floor piece means. Maybe something on the ground.
Starts on the ground.
In installation. So it would depend on the flowers used, because obviously that makes a huge difference for pricing. So one thing people underestimate is, because you could have a similar sized thing and it might be half the price depending on what flowers you use. So things like roses, big orchids, peonies, and maybe larger natives and rare tropicals and things like that are quite often like gorgeous, really showy, and much more impressive and can create the whole look. But they're obviously more costly. And then there are other flowers which you could do a similar color palette with, that might look a little bit more dainty, filler, field flowers, but you could get similar shape, size, that might be half the price. So it depends on the flowers, but generally something that's quite a sized arrangement, you'd be looking at maybe around, oh gosh, it really depends. I would love to see a photo. For example, our event prices start at a $500 minimum spend, and we also have a cost if anybody requires us to come out, set up style, make on site. It's kind of similar how a labourer would work. So for example, if you need something fixed like your tap, we have a minimum call out fee, which is like a 3-hour minimum, and then we'll style, make on site. And then if we also hire out any props like vases, plinths, backdrops, that styling cost also covers us to return, take everything down. Obviously the client's welcome to keep the florals, but then we have to take all the vases back to the studio, wash, clean, put back. So there's just that cost as well to cover the staff's wages and the time delivering, plus the flowers. But pricing wise, then I guess for a big piece might be between $500 to $700. It would really depend though. But if they're interested in a quote, get in touch. We can help them a bit further. Yeah.
That's really great though. It's good to kind of know, I guess, what's involved in the process. And similarly, Larissa, would you kind of, how do brides start their floral journey with Wiluna?
Sure. So with weddings, we have a $3,000 minimum spend for the weddings. And the reason for that is it's a completely different process. For all our wedding flowers, we drive to and from to Sydney Flower Market. We do get a lot of flowers sent down for events and regular work during the week. But weddings are so particular, so personal. A lot of the time, the suppliers will substitute something, and if it's for an event or something, people are generally a lot more forgiving, but for a wedding, it needs to be perfect. If they didn't have 20 bunches of this special red rose, I can go to the next grower next door and substitute or buy from the floor, mix and match. Which is a really important key element. And also with the weddings, we leave a bit of budget to play around, so we'll often pre-order. But then when I actually get there and walk up and down the stalls, I like to mix and match and actually buy things that often elevates and keeps that wedding, or it just makes it really special. And it's like the point of difference. So with all of that, I think there's a lot of labour costs that people don't realise. Like for example, the roses we get are hand peeled back. I'm just going to show you very quickly. So Zoe's been here since 7 a.m. this morning, fluffing all of these roses. Hi Zoe. So this rose, like we've got quite a number of these, and that takes a bit of time, but they're stunning and they last really well. So I guess just with all those, with wedding work comes a lot more labour, which people don't realise, but that is the reasoning, as well as the general flowers we use too.
Yeah.
But if anyone's interested, they can get in touch. There's a little link on our website to submit an inquiry form, and we can help them quote from there.
Fabulous. That's great. Well, thanks for spending the time to explain it as well. I think it's really helpful for everyone to kind of hear what goes into the process of creating the amazingness on the day and after as well, and prior. That's a really good point as well. On the topic of like locations, Larissa, do you work outside Canberra or do you predominantly work within the capital here?
Well, at the moment, we've been getting a lot more local work, but we would love to do more work outside of Canberra. We have done a lot of weddings, South Coast weddings, New South Wales, and Sydney, but we're always available to travel, and then we just factor that cost in. So it's absolutely not a problem, and we would love to definitely do more interstate weddings.
Amazing.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be really beautiful to get down to the South Coast, and once all the venues open up again, and there's going to be some amazing celebrations down that way.
So yes.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, you recently launched the Wiluna online store. Huge congratulations to you. I know what it takes to actually build an online store myself, for you to turn that around in such a short space of time and having it look beautiful and like ready to go ahead of Mother's Day this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you have to offer online, Larissa?
Yes. I just like to quickly add as well, I can't take all the credit because myself and one of my other girls built the whole website, and I have her to thank. And like, she did an amazing job. But it was quite tricky. We did it within the matter of a week. But yeah, so for Mother's Day, we've actually sold out.
Amazing.
I was actually just beyond, I'm so speechless. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I just want, if anybody's watching that's ordered flowers from us, like, I'm beyond grateful because it's going very well. So yeah, makes me a bit emotional thinking about it. But we're also offering hump day deliveries. So every Wednesday we're delivering now on a weekly basis until we get busier. So we want to streamline the Wednesday deliveries, and then if and when that proves to be really busy and popular, we'll be able to move into Monday to Friday. And you can order online. The cutoff is always the Monday night before, and you can specify a date or just pick the following Wednesday. And there's select styles that we've made on the website, and you can pick small, medium and large. Generally, the photo on the website is a large, and it will say that on the write-up of the product description. And if anyone wants to send anything outside those styles, they would submit a bespoke or event inquiry, which then bumps it up to our minimum spend. So yeah, I'm just totally stoked that it's going so well.
Great, well done. And with the subscriptions, Larissa, is that something that people can easily sign up to online? And how often do they get those beautiful floral pockets of joy delivered?
Yes, so the subscriptions is a new one that we've added in. I think the idea sprouted as well from that question. I posted on my Instagram, I think a few weeks ago. I think I did a general post and I said, how are you all feeling today? And you could either press okay or positive, and the other one was a bit depressed and meh. And majority of people pressed that they were depressed and meh. It was like 60%. And I just thought, this is really bad. And then I wrote a post like, would flowers cheer you up? And it was like majority, 99% or whatever pressed yes. And I just thought, people want flowers in their life. And if they do bring so much joy. So with the subscriptions, the cost is much more affordable than the gift bouquet prices. And you can get them delivered weekly, fortnightly or monthly, and it's a minimum of 4 deliveries. And I think they charge you weekly no matter what the cost is. So it's actually really affordable. A small amount of money would come out of your account every week, and you know that you'll get 4 deliveries of flowers for whatever amount of time that you choose. Yeah.
That's amazing. What a great idea.
Yeah, thank you.
And speaking of the beautiful space that you're sitting in right now, can you tell us a little bit more about the Wiluna concept space? What's happening there?
Well, I'm not sure.
Got a few things on the go.
Yeah, I've tried to I redid the website a couple of weeks ago to try and simplify, because we do get asked a lot, like, what do you do? And sometimes I don't even really know how to answer the question, because the main answer is the flowers, events, weddings, workshops, now online store, and a few other offshoots. We do our dry pop-up flowers. The locations are always on our website, and we post a lot on our Instagram at what cafes that we drop off to. But the space here, I mainly took over the space. I've always needed a larger studio. I started off working from my garage for many years, converted the space. and I was starting to teach a lot of workshops, and that's something we definitely want to do a lot more of this at the end of this year and early next year. We'll see a lot more workshops and classes coming through. So I needed a space to do that in, and then I also thought, we're not here all the time doing events and weddings. It's mainly revolves around the weekends, and I don't think there's all that many spaces that people can come to and sort of create, learn, inspire. I just really love the community vibe. I love working with other creatives, doing photo shoots. So I just kind of wanted it to be a space that we can share with other people. So you can actually hire it for your own personal events. We are also doing co-working hire, obviously when COVID lifts, on certain days when we're only working in the office and there's no flowers in this space, where if you want to do a photo shoot, you can hire half the venue and have all the furniture or have it cleared and just do your own photo shoots. So we've had a few people mixed from product shoots to people with families, like having their children here, and portraits. We had a few people doing portraits, fashion shoots. I just love that, and I love seeing what other people create, so I just want to share it with other people. Yeah.
It's really great to have a beautiful space where, you know, people come in and kind of different ideas come to life. It's quite rewarding to have a space like that you can provide to people. And yeah, what a busy lady.
I think as well, like up until a few weeks ago, I definitely was suffering from burnout, and I love what I do, but I just think I was just, you know, I needed that break and that rest, and as horrible as everything has been, it's helped refresh and kind of like get a grip on everything and restructure a bit too. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's been a blessing for a lot of people, particularly those that run their own businesses or have fairly new businesses as well. It's been that downtime that we should have been taking, and we were forced to take. So I think it's done us all a world of good in the scheme of things. Yeah. And speaking of life in general, Larissa, we've got a few quick fire questions for you before we do a quick kind of tour of the studio, the space, before we wrap up. So where would you travel to first after all these travel bans are lifted?
I've been thinking about that nonstop, and it's like this. I'm torn between dearly missing my friends and really wanting to go. I used to live in the UK, and I miss London so much, and I just think about that often. But obviously, I've spent so much time there. But I'm dying to go back there as soon as things lift and see my friends. But otherwise, elsewhere, I just probably just somewhere like Bali or lovely Southeast Asia, tropical island, just some sort of switch off, relax, bliss kind of vibe.
I'm with you on that one for sure.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite fragrance, Larissa?
Oh, again, I don't know if I have a favorite anything. I don't know. That's really, really tricky. Oh, I love jasmine essential oils. Like if you just get the pure jasmine.
Beautiful.
Perfect Potion has a really nice one. And I know you're not supposed to use it as perfume, but I often do because I don't actually use perfume. But natural smells, less, I don't know. Yeah. I guess it changed. It might, maybe that's a tricky one. I don't know.
Yeah. It's always tricky to have a favorite anything, but I totally agree with you on jasmine. A lot of fragrances I wear actually contain jasmine. And it is really beautiful just to wear essential oils because they kind of work with the natural oils in your body, and they take on different kind of scents throughout the day as well.
I remember you having a really nice perfume. I always comment on your perfume.
So many people ask me about that. I think I spoke about it with Anya from Leto Bridal. So it's by a brand called Maison Louis Marie. It's a French brand. And I'm fairly sure it's number 4. I think it's called Bays, but I'm pretty sure it does have jasmine in it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I like the too. If I want a perfume like that.
Okay, there you go.
It's really unusual and a bit unisex. Like it wasn't.
Yeah. I do like things that have like kind of deeper, woodier, smoky undertones as well. But back to you. What music are you playing in the studio at the moment, or what do you kind of love playing? What?
So he just gave me a look because I was like, turn this off while I'm chatting to Amy. We mix it up a bit. I think in general, I do have like a studio playlist, but we've kind of bashed it to death a bit, and it had like quirky kind of no words, chill out kind of music.
Nice.
On the computer, which I'm often on and off, or if I just am on the computer and someone's doing some flowering, I can't concentrate when there's words or when it's a catchy known song. I need just like background music.
Yeah.
But when we're working, we like to usually play something that's a little bit more upbeat. We mix it up a bit. I'm looking at her. Help. We don't know how to say. How do you say the name? K Tranda. I don't know how to say it properly, but it's like K-A. Maybe I can even put it on your post.
Yeah, comments. Yeah, absolutely.
But we've been bashing. There's one particular song that we bashed to death. Chances, it's called. We like that one a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it depends too. End of day, always need to put something super upbeat on, and
nice.
It actually helps us work a little bit faster.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Larissa, we've only got a few moments left. Did you want to give us a quick little spin around the studio? And
yes.
we'll thank you again for your time. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we really appreciate you and all the beautiful work that you and your team create. So thank you for giving up your time again, and all the best with the weekend.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. This has been
pleasure. Okay, let's go for a quick tour.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's obviously we're working, so it's not super tidy. So maybe I can start. Do you want me to start at the front door? I'll just move over here.
Sure.
This is funny because I'll do it on the side of me so I can see what you're seeing. But I mean, this is our front door here. So we walk in. There's Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
We have all of our dried stock flowers that we generally, because it's tricky to store as well, so it doubles up as a display. And then our sneaky office, Lou, Lou's at the back there.
Oh, hiding behind all the beautiful
in the office, writing all the Mother's Day cards. So as soon as you walk in on the left, I've got a bit of a display here. This is not usually here. This is our calendar, which helps us write up things. I've sort of put up all the bouquet styles that we're making for the girls. Our little lounge section, which is a bit wild at the moment. Zoe's fluffing all the roses.
Wow, so look at those beautiful red roses.
These are all being opened by hand. I wish we could have before. Oh, they look somewhat, I mean, yeah. So it looks like that before it's opened.
Oh, wow. I guess that's a pretty delicate process too.
Yeah. So, and then so that's the kind of, so it does take a bit of time, but it makes a huge difference, and it's what makes them really special. We've got all the stock ready to go and work with, colour blocked. And then coming around, a bit messy at the moment, we've got our little kitchen. And this is Lou on the cards.
Hi, Lou. It's a very important job also.
and our storeroom out the back, which is a bit chaos as well at the moment. How embarrassing that I'm showing you guys that.
This is real life, Larissa.
Yeah, this is the real world. And our bathrooms are behind me here. So I don't know whether that was very good because you're probably all a little bit dizzy, but...
No, that's fine. It's a floral whirlwind. We love it. Well,
thank you.
Thank you again. We better let you get back to creating all your beautiful bouquets and flowers for the weekend. Great to see your face. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you in real life soon, hopefully.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Bye.